For all intents and purposes, I was raised a pretty devout Catholic kid. I was baptized as a baby. I went to Catholic school from kindergarten to 8th grade. But I didn't go to just any Catholic school. I went to Most Precious Blood Catholic School. And you don't dabble in Catholicism at Most Precious Blood. You go all in. And so during classes, we would learn about the Catholic religion. We would go to Mass once a week. In 2nd grade, I received my first communion. In 3rd grade, my first reconciliation or confession. In 8th grade, I became officially confirmed into the Catholic Church, and I was invited to participate in World Youth Day, which was when Pope John Paul II visited Denver. It was a big deal. And so you would think, with all of these years of experience, I would be a pretty good Catholic, yet in spite of the years of learning and exposure, I've always felt like a novice when it comes to Catholic rituals. Growing up, I was never quite sure when to sit or stand or kneel. I knew about 30% of the Nicene Creed. It's kind of the principal statement of faith for Catholics. We believe in one almighty God, creator of heaven and earth, and et cetera, et cetera. I always felt a little bit like an outsider. I had a single mom, and I was one of 2 kids, I think, in the school whose parents were divorced. And at a certain point, my mom stopped fighting my 3 brothers and I to get ready to go to Mass on Sundays. And so I started to feel a little bit distanced from the Catholic Church. I would still go. I would go through the motions. I would do the best that I could. But I never really understood what I was doing. Fast forward about a decade. I'm 23, and my stepsister, who recently converted to Catholicism before she got married, said, "We should go to confession before Christmas Eve services." Now, my family did go to Christmas Eve services. It was kind of the rare occasion that we would go to church. And she was like, "Come on, it'll be fun." So I reluctantly agreed, and we went to church a little bit early for confession hours. Now, this was my 2nd confession. A lot had happened since 3rd grade. But I thought, this is an opportunity to share my experiences, and I'm here, might as well get forgiven. So I got into the booth, I closed the door, I said the words that I remembered, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been many years since my last confession." And then I closed my eyes, and I confessed. I've had impure thoughts, I've cursed, I've had premarital sex a few times. I had an abortion. I was in a relationship with someone who was married. I took the Lord's name in vain. And just as I was approaching the end, that small wooden partition that separates the priest from the confessor opened. I stopped abruptly. The voice said, "Oh, I'm sorry for being late. You may begin." The priest had just arrived. I was in shock. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to cry. That booth heard things I hadn't told anyone. Deflated, I told the priest, I've had premarital sex, I've had negative thoughts about my parents. And then I was told to say 10 Hail Marys and a prayer for lonely people. And I shuffled out of the booth, the weight of my experience heavy on my shoulders, and I sat in the pew to say my prayers. And I've never been back to confession. Thank you.